Red light, green light. Mission Impossible, released in 1996 and is directed by Brian De Palma, who is also behind such films like Carrie, Dressed to Kill, The Untouchables, Phantom of the Paradise, Carlito's Way, and Scarface. Pasa sweet potatoes. Pasta sweet potatoes to me. And this movie is starring Tom Cruise, Jon Voight, Emmanuel Barrat, Henry Cernsey, Ving Rhames, Kristen Scott Thomas, Vanessa Redgrave, and Jean Reno. The IMF lists the help of Jim Phelps once again and his team to detain a certain suspect and to secure the valuable information that he has stolen. But on this mission, every member of Phelps's team is killed, other than the new point man of this franchise, Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise. And because he is the only one who survived, the head operatives of the IMF suspect that he is a traitor, as this whole mission was a setup. So now Ethan runs from city to city and country to country trying to clear his name, which almost seems like an impossible task. I remember when this film came out, I didn't watch it in the theater. No, back in the 90s we had lovely things called VHSs, and I remember when my dad brought this film home, we all watched it as a family. One of the few times we ever did anything as a family, and I remember watching this movie on repeat constantly. I just loved the action in this movie. Plus, the theme of this film and of the TV series is so ingrained into pop culture that everyone knows it. Whenever you're doing something stealthy or whenever you're messing around in some type of stealthy way, everyone goes da 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 da. They even used the theme in the original Ace Ventura movie, and actually that's probably the first time I ever heard this theme was during when Ace Ventura was trying to infiltrate the Shark Tank and he was doing all the unnecessary stunt moves and everything. They played that theme in the background. And of course, this movie is based on the TV series, I believe, from the 70s of the same name and had the same character of Jim Phelps, which makes this movie actually kind of, I would say, a sequel to that series because this is the same character. And I know a lot of elderly people who went out to see this movie were a little upset because they grew up with Jim Phelps in the TV series. He was the hero of the series, but here, I guess spoiler alert, he's a little bit of a turncoat. He's played by Jon Voight. How can you not know that he's going to be evil eventually in the movie? You gotta put those two together. But this movie was made and marketed all around the new hit heartthrob from the 80s and here in the 90s, still making a name for himself, Tom Cruise. To think that where the Mission Impossible franchise is now, with him hanging off the top of the Dubai Tower and then parachuting, skydiving with the cameraman, just free falling, shooting that for real. He's blowing up a train in the new movie that's coming out this weekend. He holds his breath for like 50 minutes or whatever the record he claims he did. The man's insane, but to think that all of those crazy stunts began in this movie with a little stick of bubblegum. Man, evolution's amazing, isn't it? Now, I said I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid because I loved the theme and I loved the missions. I love spy movies. I love seeing someone going in and infiltrating. But as a kid, if you asked me like what this movie was about or what they were going out looking for or what they were going out trying to get, I couldn't tell you at all. It's the knock list, and there's two halves of the list. One has the aliases, so all of the spies throughout all the world who are part of this MIF program. It has all their aliases that they have, but then it also has their real names, and if that list ever got out in the open, all of those agents would be compromised. But little 7, 8-year-old me back in the day, I couldn't tell you what that meant. All I knew is that, oh, there's some cool stuff going on here. It's also amazing to see how technology has advanced from the 90s because, gosh, 96, the internet would have just started becoming a thing, I think. But if you had the thousands of dollars to be carrying around a laptop that probably has like 200 megabytes of data available on it, gosh, those things. Those are beautiful. And back then, they thought they were so cool carrying around this big honkin' thing, this little computer. And that's also how Ethan, like, gets in touch with Max, who's, like, the main drug dealer or main smuggler that he's trying to get with to get the money so that he can go get the list and try to frame her. He's just searching around on message boards and message rooms using AOL. It's just... Oh man, how technology has advanced. It's so amazing. So the technology definitely hasn't aged well, and as I've said in my other Mission Impossible franchise reviews that I've done over the many years, this movie and Mission Impossible 2 are the only ones that I have not covered, but in every single one, I say that the Mission Impossible franchise just gets better with each entry. So it's safe to say that a lot of the things in this movie don't hold up, but there are certain aspects of this movie that hold true and stay true throughout the entire franchise. Of course, him just being lowered into that secure vault where he gets the information and he does the whole thing where he's trying not to touch the ground or else everything will go into lockdown. I mean, that's just an iconic image, and that's an iconic scene that everyone knows. And it's parodied like crazy still to this day. This movie is a nice first entry for this franchise. I guarantee you, though, they had no idea of where they wanted to take this franchise because it was a little bit before we got the second entry into this franchise, and that one was a whole different thing. We're going to be talking about that next time, but until then, I'm going to give Mission Impossible 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
So guys, if you've seen Mission Impossible, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit that bell so you know the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.